years ago. It's been a couple of months since you moved into your grandfather's old farmhouse. You left behind some things, but nothing you miss. A job you didn't like, a home that was suffocating, friends you didn't really care much for, worrying parents that still call you several times a week. You're okay with that, though. The night sky is perfectly dark out here in the middle of nowhere. There's no stress from work, no noise from the city, just silence and peace and neighbors too far away to bother you. It's a nice house and it's familiar, filled with good memories. Overall, this is a great place. You thought you'd get better here. All that anxiety, the nervousness, the constant fidgeting, and it did. Kinda. But more so in a way now that you're completely avoiding everything that stressed you out before. When you do have to interact with someone, it's 10 times worse than before. You're not sure you'll be able to ignore this for the rest of your life. Maybe it's time for therapy after all. You've never been to therapy, you have no idea how it works. But not knowing that is making you anxious, so you can at least imagine something. First things first, there's going to be a greeting. You're going to introduce yourself. Okay. That one. Hi, my name is Jay. The therapist will nod. It's nice to meet you, Jay. My name is... you don't have a name for your therapist. You're very bad at making up names. My name is therapist, the therapist is going to say. So far, so good. You can handle that. So what are you here for? That's going to be a great question. Well, the stress, probably, the anxiety, maybe the fact that you're also starting to talk to yourself in your thoughts way more often. Like, talk, not just forming words, but literally talk with yourself. Talk with your thoughts like it's another person. The voice in your head is a bit of a snarky ass sometimes. This can't be healthy. Probably. What you know. You're no therapist or psychology major or whatever. No idea how it'll continue after you'll tell them that. Deep breaths, Jay. Deep breaths. Alright, you can do this. Tomorrow you're going to look up some therapists nearby and give them a call to find out if they still take patients. I already hate this. Yeah, putting yourself out there is not very comfortable, is it? It won't be easy, but you're sure you can do this. Tomorrow you'll get up, eat something, take a shower, just in case they ask you to come over immediately, which they might do. How would you know? You've never been to therapy. This would be so much easier if you knew what was going to happen. Deep breaths, Jay. Everything is alright. You find yourself calming down just the tiniest bit. Great. Or would be great if it wasn't the moment that you hear a noise outside. You're decently sure you didn't imagine that. There's something or someone out there. I don't know. Can I just not check? Alright, let's go with definitely someone friendly. Definitely. You won't catch a wink of sleep if you don't check to make sure. There's no way around it. It could be a raccoon or something, which would be fine, but your neighbors told you about bears. You do not want bears. It could also be an intruder, which is no better because those could come into your house. Maybe you shouldn't have moved so far out into the countryside, right next to a forest. It can get pretty scary here. Ugh, at least you have Grandpa's trusty shotgun, right? I don't know how to shoot guns. And you also don't want to hit anyone, so that's perfect, isn't it? You grab the shotgun, whether you like it or not. The weight feels comforting in your hands. You listen to the door for further noises, but it's quiet, so you open the door slowly as possible and peek outside. Nothing. There's no one around, but the noise did come from the direction of the empty barn right next to the house. Maybe something's inside there? You're still convincing yourself that this is some small animal as you approach. Small animals sound like they're the best option right now next to it being nothing. But it's something. It's a damn large shadow that twitches in the corner when you peek into the suspiciously open barn. Who's there? Come out. You don't sound threatening. You sound like someone who did not want to check the barn at night and who definitely doesn't want to shoot. The someone or something doesn't move, still you're sure it's there. I have a gun. Come out or I'll shoot. No, you won't. But you do raise the shotgun just a little bit. The moment you do, there's a growl. It's a deep, throaty noise, and you're immediately sure it's not a wolf, or a dog, or a bear. There's no way for an animal to make such a human sound, but then again, there's no way for a human to growl like that either. Oh god, you want to leave. But you don't. You stand your ground, shuffling the tiniest bit to the side while totally not quivering like a leaf in the wind. You find the light switch. Click. The light shouldn't be affecting your sense of smell, but only when it's on, giving you a visual input, do you realize that it smells like iron. There's a bright red trail running from the barn entrance to where the figure is cowering on the ground. It's definitely not a small figure. You spot the heavy bleeding gash on its side immediately. You'd be shocked seeing someone bleeding like this if you weren't shocked by the one bleeding. It's a man, you think, male, maybe more accurately, and it's not happy to be disturbed. Oh, several eyes, you count 4 pairs, are all staring at you, teeth still bared in a growl. Dangerously long horns and spikes run from its head down its back into a scale tail that raises in a threatening twitch. The long clawed fingers are digging into the ground. The creature is terrifying. Oh, we're doing this one, you guys know. I have to. I absolutely have to. But it's hot though. That it is. It is. The darkened skin offsets the icy blue eyes, all wide open pairs of them, and the glistening scales range from almost black to a pale turquoise. The creature is gorgeous. You should be way more scared about this, but somehow you're not. Beautiful things have a way of calming you down. Besides, you're not anxious in front of animals or plants either, so why would you be anxious in front of a monster? Sure, that makes total sense. As you're staring fascinated, the thing lowers its growl into a rough rumble. You snap out of it, finally taking a moment to assess your situation. This is not a human. This is not an animal either. This is in fact not a being that you've ever expected to see outside of a movie or drawings, and yet it's here. This is a monster in your barn, and you're not going to question that for a moment, because if you think too deeply about it, you're going to have a nervous breakdown. The creature doesn't look hostile, more wary. It's bleeding, but it's still bleeding, but now it's slowly moving its weight away from its injured side, sitting up. You can see its legs formed differently from yours, much more suited to walking on all fours. It doesn't look as odd to you as you'd have thought such a thing should look. You try not to stare too hard and keep your voice as calm as you can. Can you understand what I'm saying? One of the 2 pairs of ears twitch forward. The growl quiets further, now pretty subtle, as the creature continues to stare you down, skeptical. You have a feeling he understands you. That's one very judgmental gaze right there. Still hot. Still hot. There's just something about the condescending gaze on a man who's bleeding on your floor. That could be something to mention to your future therapist. You don't say anything. You don't say any of your thoughts out loud, or at least you didn't. But the creature, you decide to call it man from now, looks even more condescending now, like he's offended you're checking him out. Alternatively, he thinks you're stupid. You give it another try. Do you need help? Duh. Bleeding out on the floor, I'm sure he's fine. More ear twitching. Finally, he stops growling completely. He just exhales through his nose audibly and shifts his weight further. He's leaning against the barn wall now, two eyes moving to his wound while the rest keeps staring at you. How is his brain processing the information of all of them looking in different directions? You'll have to look up how chameleons do that. Anyway, he seems to judge you not a danger to himself. You're about as dangerous as a fly, so he's right about that. With the man seeming more approachable, you decide to swat down. When you try to approach frightened or hurt animals, it's best to make yourself as small as possible. You're not sure about frightened or animal, but the man sure is hurt, so the concept should be similar. You get a frown in return for your movements, and a weird growl when you put down your shotgun. I'm not trying to hurt you. See, I put away the gun. Praying you don't regret this. You're hurt. Can I take a look? All eyes return to focus on you. The bleeding doesn't appear to have stopped, and the man is suddenly beginning to look rather exhausted, weary. I've seen your grandfather take care of sick animals before. This is a look of surrender. It's a look of someone giving up. He doesn't even react anymore when you shuffle forward, just letting his head fall to the side a bit, eyes almost closed. It'll be alright, hopefully. Up close, the man is twice as beautiful. There's just enough human about him for you to regard him as humanoid, but enough animal or monster to feel foreign. You've never seen anything like him before. You've thankfully seen bad injured animals before because, wow, that looks nasty, considering your previous job. So you're not put off by the stench of iron. The wound looks bad. It's hard to tell under all that blood, but it's mangled like you expect a wound to look after an animal attack. Maybe one of those bears? You don't exactly have ideal equipment to treat a wound like this at home, but you do have enough that you can get him patched up. The rest will rely on his own healing powers, which are hopefully better than humans. A human most certainly wouldn't have survived this outside of a hospital. But a human also doesn't seem to have 8 eyes and doesn't not react to pain at all, so you're pretty optimistic. I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to get some things to help you with that wound, okay? You think he understands, judging from the way he exhales through his nose again. The man monster lets you do whatever. He watches you with the gaze of someone fully expecting to be stabbed with a knife at any second. Surprise starts to mix in when you don't, instead nudging him carefully so you can work on the injury. His skin is cold like that of a reptile's. When you get him to move his arm, his stomach reveals tight lines of muscle and lack of belly button. Your focus could be on the latter, but since you were talking about it, it's not. So exactly where we're gonna do it, guys. We're gonna grope the abs. We have to. Come on. This is just, you guys know me. Let's go. We gotta do it. He, presumed to have hatched from an Eggman, doesn't like to get groped. He's been letting you do whatever so far, but now we swat your hands away, shortly growling again, though it's a bit weak. You may have his life, but not his dignity. You like the condescending gaze better. Good for you, because it returns immediately. When you're done with the wound on his waist, you check the rest of him. There's streaks of red blood on his face, and where his fingers had dug into the ground, bloody drops have colored the earth darker. You wipe away what you can and let him lie where he is, breathing shallowly, all eyes almost closed. Something tells you that he's resilient. He will make this with some help. Food, water, shelter, time. Safety, to not be found by wild animals or worse, humans who would love to get their hands on the thing that has never been seen before. You can offer him that. Him being hurt means he would stay a while. Obviously, he can rest here. Let's go with obviously he can rest here. You're not going to throw him out a hurt person, not when he's being docile. You can stay here if you'd like, as long as you don't hurt me. I don't mind you occupying the barn. A single eye opens, focusing on you, then another huff. His tail whips around his side, the tip coiled on the ground in front of you. I'll interpret that as an agreement. He doesn't respond anymore. Little by little, tension leaves his body. He's tired from whatever fight has caused his wounds. He needs rest. His body tilts over to the side, once again curling up tightly. You haven't killed him so far, and even if you wanted to, he's not in the mood to put up a lot of resistance. His sleep or passing out face is much softer. You hold back the urge to touch it, and you leave him alone. Hey, if monsters exist, then maybe that voice in your head talking to you like it's another person isn't really so weird after all. Wait, does that make it better or worse? You sleep fitfully that night, dreaming of eyes and slithering scales. When morning comes, you're almost eager to check if last night has been a very detailed hallucination. On the way, you pass by the bloody tissues you've thrown into your trash. Not a dream after all. When you check on the stranger, he's still where you left him, almost shuffled off to the side, a bit more hidden but awake. Probably startled by the noise, he quickly gets up. The weariness thankfully passes almost immediately. Recognizing you, he tilts his head, and the thin forked tongue slithers out between his lips. The pale tongue is gone before you can really look at it. Was he sniffing the air just now? Snakes mainly smell through their tongues. You know that. You have knowledge about snakes. Oh, that's so cute. You like snakes. Their scales feel nice, and their little tongues flicks are absolutely adorable, especially on tiny snakes. Even though this is a very tall man doing the same thing, it still enhances his cuteness factor by a lot. Okay, first off, we have to just say that I do not like snakes. No. But for some reason, the little tongue flick is actually kind of cute, so it's a hard call for me. Okay, guys? Sorry. You wish you could take a video of it. Back to the topic. The main point is the sniffing isn't a threatening gesture, quite unlike the growl. Although, to be honest, there's so much for different animals mixing, you can even trust what you know. You can see it more as a greeting. That's what you decided to do, at least. Compared to yesterday, he looks more relaxed. It's probably helped that you haven't tried to kill him. I brought you some water and a meal if you want any. You don't need to tell him that. 2 eyes are on you and 2 are looking around, and 4 are fixed on what you're carrying all the way until you put it down in front of him. You have no idea what the man with fur-like hair who growls and has scales and horns and 8 eyes and 4 ears might eat. So you didn't bring only water, you also brought milk and juice, and just in case, and the plate is carefully balanced mixture of meat, vegetables, fruit, eggs, and bread. Without hesitating, the man goes for the hard-boiled eggs first, appearing confused for a moment when he notices the insides are not fluid anymore and follows it up by the meat. You observe him as he eats. he's not purely carnivorous. He eats the fruit next, then the vegetables, and even the bread after some suspicious licks and nibbles. His tongue flicks out to lick over his lips several times, long and almost white. It doesn't match the rest of his mouth. You leave him to his meal, observing his preferences but not bothering him. Once he's done eating, it's time to check on his wounds. Can I check how your wound looks? He shifts the tiniest bit. I guess you think? This time you say your thoughts out loud while you're working, how the wound looks, what you're checking. His ears flick and twitch, and all 8 of his eyes stay focused on you. He's listening, but how much can you understand? You wouldn't know. He has yet to give you a sign. This is looking good. It's stopped bleeding, and there's not a single sign of infection. I don't think you should move around too much, though, or you might tear open the wound again. You sit down in front of the man. Well, since you might be here for a while, let's get along. My name is Jay. I live here alone, so you don't have to worry about anyone else seeing you. My neighbors are pretty far away, and we don't really interact a lot. You babble on. It's easy to talk to someone who is listening, but not commenting. I don't get visitors either, mostly because I don't spend a lot of time with other people. People are scary. The way his gaze turns absolutely incredulous at that statement makes you almost laugh. You scared. Hey, you got your confirmation that he understands you. That's cool. Seriously, I'm usually super awkward around others and can't get the words out. I can't see that happening is what that gaze says. Your existence is so surprising that I'm finding it hard to get scared. Like, my brain isn't exactly treating this as real. What even are you? And what's your name? Do you have a name? Can you say it? The man looks at you for a while, then growls. Not growl, so it's very specific growl with an odd intoning, and it's hard to describe, but you think it's an introduction. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. He thinks again. Then he speaks, which is a nice way to say that he imitates the sound of words the same way a parent might. Varen. Varen? He doesn't correct you, so must have been managed to get it somewhat right. Maybe this is how you'd pronounce his name in the human language. Cool. Nice to meet you, Varen. You're starting to realize that Varen is actually very expressive. You can basically tell what he's thinking just by looking at him. You're odd. Rude. His eyes and ears, his tail, the way he tilts his head, and even the crease of his mouth are in constant conveying messages to you. It's so much easier to read him than humans. How is the monster easier to read than humans? Humans, what you are doing, stop being so complicated. Oh yeah, thinking about humans. You're gonna postpone that therapist. Yay. I mean, too bad. Back to the business. For convenience, do you think you could talk to me directly? Head tilt, is this really necessary? Fair point. You're not having a lot of problems reading him. I'm just going to look silently disappointed. Okay. Yeah, let's just look silently disappointed. He looks silently back. Your mother always said that it's hard to deny you anything when you look disappointed. You continue doing so. And his tail starts to flick. The longer you silently look disappointed, the bigger the flicks. Then he gives a tiny, non-threatening growl of annoyance. You humans are complicated. Varen speaks slowly, but make sure to have everyone pronounced correctly. There's not even a lisp. It's like he knows all the words, but needs to get used to saying them out loud. Actually, his mouth moves very little while he talks. Maybe he has another way of mimicking your language. You try hard not to get giddy at the fact that he's fulfilling your wish. You have about 4 dozen questions, but you need to ask them one by one. Priorities? Huh, we sure are. But, do you need anything? Like a blanket or a mattress to lie down on, or 4 of his eyes jump down to the empty plate on the ground. Food? Still hungry? I can get you more. What do you want? Eggs. I've got one more hard-boiled egg in the fridge and 2 fresh ones. How many do you want? He looks at you. How many? So many. I guess I'm gonna drop by one of my neighbor's places after all. One guy has a chicken farm. I can buy a lot of eggs there. The owner is very quiet and doesn't care about anyone's business. He's not gonna ask what you need a lot of eggs for. The thought of dropping gives you a twinge in your stomach, though. Are you hurt? Huh? You notice you wrapped your arms around yourself. Awkward. You wave them around to show that you're fine. Oh, no, not hurt, just anxious. But I'm going there to get you a meal, so I can do it. No problem at all. The attractive monster in your barn wants a meal, so you're going to get him a meal. Soon. For now. Other than food, are you okay here? Aaron nods. I need rest. He gingerly puts one hand on his waist where the bandages are covering up his injury. You're going to get him a meal in a moment, but his sleeping situation is more or less covered. He could totally sleep in my bed. I don't think he'd fit in the house. Let's just go where he can sleep. Can't do that? I mean, what would happen? Should we try it? Let's try it. Because, I mean, he totally could. Look at this guy. He could sleep in my bed. I could kick my husband out for him. Okay, let's see. Why did you say that out loud? You don't think he completely understands what you're implying? Maybe because he doesn't know what a bed is, but his gaze turns suspicious. No, I'll stay. He motions to where he is. Oh, sure. A shame. Could you stop it already? No. How does someone like you have social anxiety? No, don't answer that. I guess this is just how much you're into what's in front of you. Guys. Oh, this is why I have social anxiety. Okay. Wait. I promise I'm bigot. No, I won't. Let's just keep going. Will you be cold out here? He huffs. Most certainly not. You're tempted to procrastinate visiting your neighbor further, but the gorgeous monster man wants his meal. To your surprise, you managed rather well. Your neighbor assumes you've got a visitor over according to the comments he makes, and you don't correct him. Your monster is waiting for you when you return, with his head raised and tongue flicking out repeatedly. Lunch is here. You act like you've been calm all along, but it's the sight of the non-human who's soothing your nerves. You hand him a basket of what's a dozen raw eggs. He picks up the first handful of eggs, eagerly holding them to his mouth. His jaw unhinges. There's a lot of snake-likeness in the movement, though his teeth he shows off are decidedly not snake-like. Behind a row of sharp carnivorous teeth are little spikes covering the entire inside of his mouth, standing up further the more he opens his mouth. If he bites into something, it's not going to free itself without flesh tearing viciously. His mouth closes around the egg with a crunch. Something tells you he could do the same thing with a skull. Okay, but that's still... I mean, he would be a good protector. I mean, he would. Let's go with... Okay, but that's still... You have something very interesting tastes. Aaron is busy finishing his early lunch, by which means you have a solid 3 minutes to stare at him until the basket is empty. Jaw back in place, he looks at you with some eyes, not all of them. He likes keeping a watch on his environment. Why are you helping me? The more he talks, the smoother the words come out, and you're marveling at the sound of his voice until you register what he's asking. Huh? Humans don't like strangers. He's very right there. And if one thing about humans can't stand, then it's something they don't understand. If it's a living thing, an intelligent living thing, then it's worse. You're not scared. You were, but before you saw me. With him slowly, deliberately pronouncing every word in his low, rumbly voice, you're getting a whole live ASMR experience. Yeah, I was worried that there was an intruder, which, okay, you are technically an intruder, but I mean a dangerous intruder. Unhinged jaw skull breaker, yeah. Which you technically are. What I'm trying to say is I was scared of you. I was scared that there would be something or someone who wanted to harm me. I'm not scared of a bear because it's a bear, and I'm not scared of being attacked, and you aren't attacking me. I could be waiting. You could be. Just doesn't feel like it. I'm not making a lot of sense, am I? I don't know. You awkwardly laugh and play with your sleeve. Sometimes you're just so bad at words and explaining what you mean, you don't make any sense. Varen takes it longer to reply this time, searching for the right translation. Trust can only be earned when given. I couldn't prove that I won't harm you unless you give me a chance. Which you did. Oh. Embarrassment flushes your face red. You start rambling immediately, as you tend to do when you're nervous. Honestly, it's because of your looks. Us humans are totally superficial. Nothing pretty or cute is dangerous. So I came in expecting an intruder, and then I saw you, and sure, you're very obviously not something I've seen around or should have been worried. But also, you're insanely gorgeous, which makes me go, pretty things can be dangerous. All of Varen's eyes blink, one pair after another, the whole row down. From what I know, humans don't like. He fails at trying to get together what he means. His eyes narrow in thought until he has put the words put together. You don't like things that look human, but then not completely. The fake human bodies made of wood and other materials, or art everywhere on your skin, or even humans with different colors. Dolls, tattoos, and skin colors. He's got a point there. You're going to find a ton of people who don't like the uncanny valley of dolls, who think tattoos and piercings are ugly, or who are just plain racist. What he apparently doesn't know is that there are an equal amount of people who do like it. Beauty standards are very subjective matter. Some people like it different. And there's plain curiosity in Varen's voice, and he's not teasing you or trying to be mean at all, like you. Yep. Like me. We don't talk about the kinds of books you read or the games you play. There's a pattern there, Jay. There's definitely a pattern, even if you hadn't noticed it until today. Oh, I noticed it a long time ago, darling. I did, definitely. Yep. Alright. They say that fiction and reality can't be compared, but the truth is that your specific case, there is something rather unclear lines. Possibly. You have pause. Interesting pause. Long pause. Tastes. Yes. Yeah. Self-awareness. Nice. Thank you. I believe for humans it is positive when they say someone likes your appearance. You've been swooning over him rather than giving him a friendly compliment, but this is an acceptable misunderstanding. Since we talked about me being scared, what about you? How did you come to hide in here? And speaking of, why didn't you attack me? Varen's nose creases slightly, his tail flicking around in unhidden agitation. There was an intruder, one of my own, for my space, home, area, your territory. An area that you've marked as yours? Yes, we fought. I won, but he wasn't alone, implying that after their fight was over, more intruders appeared for him. You got injured and had to retreat, landing you here where you hid away? Wait, how many of you are there? Varen mimics a shrug. How is there a whole species out there having territorial fights and they haven't been found yet? Although maybe they have and it's been covered up. Better not to ask too much. I can't kill a human. I could have fought back if you attacked, but more might have come again. I also cannot hunt. Too many questions. Let's go with... Sorry, bitch. Why can't you kill a human? It's forbidden. If we kill a human, your species will attempt to destroy us immediately. You've got nothing to say to that. Let's go. Couldn't you tell I was the only one here? Yes, but humans have a way to call others even from afar. Well, of course, he's not entirely sure how technology works, but then he has to be wary of you doing something and there's suddenly being a whole horde of humans. You can't hunt. You were bleeding a lot, but you already healed up a ton. It looked bad to me, but was it that bad for you? I need too many words. I don't know how to explain. I can move, but not a lot. I am healing, but not yet on the inside. I can only heal this quickly when I can sleep. So to summarize, well, it looks like today he's almost fully healed already. That's just on the surface. The injuries run deep, and he can't walk, let alone hunt, which means he was risking starvation without support. In the end, what was your plan? Hide away from the intruders? That much I get, but wasn't it a bad idea to do so this close to humans? They won't come close to here. The most dangerous place can be the safest one. And I've watched this place. It's my territory. You rarely left, and only during the day. I believe I had a chance you wouldn't notice. You sure are getting called out today, aren't you? If you hadn't been awake in the middle of the night because you were too fidgety to sleep, you definitely would have missed the noise. And since you never ever entered the barn, you would have never found him either. Good thing that for once in my life I left the house when I didn't want to. Farron gives you a look for that. If this is the territory you live in, then you are practically neighbors. Are you going to reclaim it from the intruders? You pray he's going to. You don't want him to get into another fight, but the thought of him living nearby and maybe dropping by once in a while is nice. His throat rumbles slightly. Yes. Considering condescending gaze was hot. Determined, proud, and slightly aggressive gaze is hotter. Don't you dare twirl your hair and giggle like an idiot. Hold it back. Awesome. That means I'll continue to see you around? Yes. Yes. You're definitely always welcome here. You grab his hand in excitement. Farron twitches a little, four eyes peering down, but he doesn't pull back his hand. You only vaguely notice how he curls his fingers a bit, twisting the sharp nails away from your skin. He honestly looks a bit conflicted, which in turn makes you awkward, but pulling your hand away right now might be more awkward. Sorry, is the touching no good? It's fine. Why is he asking that like a question? His ears, which had been going up a bit lower again, you think he relaxes a bit. Or resigned. You kind of feel like he's looking a bit resigned. Not in a bad way, just in a resigned way. You're still holding hands, by the way. And you aren't planning on letting them go. You have little scales around your fingernails. Great observation, Jay. Proud of you. Perfect thing to say here. It studies the claws. Oh my gosh, he calls them claws. We use them to fight, unlike you. You humans are soft compared to us. Hey, I've got some muscle. He looks over you. You feel a little shiver down your spine when he hums thoughtfully. Soft. Alright, he's into soft. You're perfectly okay with being soft. Another pair of survivors dropped onto your hands. 3 pairs now, still holding hands. For a species this soft. You think he means something along the lines of weak here, Actually, you are very direct. I didn't know humans were this aggressive in courtship. In what? If this was a comic, your head would explode right now. Courtship. Courtship? He's not only noticing your super subtle flirting, he's also been seeing it as courting him. That's not entirely wrong way of interpreting flirting, but it's a bit much. You hadn't thought that far. A monster husband. What would your parents think? You definitely have to renovate the house and find a way for both of you to be comfortable living together. There's also children to think of. Like, what does he even think about adoption? Wow, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Is this species monogamous? That stuff's kind of important to know before marriage. Wait. Yes, right. Take a breath, Jay. Don't run away with your thoughts. There's a bit more important question to think about. Yep, our whole species is totally like this when it comes to flirting. Courtship, totally. You don't need to let him know otherwise. All of this has been intentional and planned, and you knew what you were doing. Is that bad? The single most important question is if it bothers him. No. Question, but more so that he's confused you're asking it all. It seems you're lucky that aggressive courtship isn't odd to him, though he might be used to it. Still holding hands. I simply don't know your kind's rituals, which makes it hard for him to respond in the right way, you guess. Oh, of course, I mean, I don't know your kind's way either. Which would be how? Just asking out of curiosity. You lack a tail for it. Oh, damn. You'd have a tail, you could. Tails are cool. You finally pull your hand back and sit up straight. Clear your throat. Do this seriously, Jay. I might not have a tail, but would you allow me to, court you? He looks at you like he's doubting why you decided that now, after all this time, you needed his permission. You're trying to transition from thirsting over him to officially flirting, so obviously you need his permission, though. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Aaron seriously studies you again, then taps a finger against your arm. Even with you wearing long sleeves, there's a distinct difference in build. I think I might accidentally hurt you. What actions exactly are we talking about that could cause him to accidentally hurt you? I'm sure that's not right. You're a very kind guy. I doubt you'd be that careless. He doesn't believe you at all. It's fair to say that this guy could, without wanting to, squish you to death, but you see no signs that he'd treat another living human being that roughly. You rack your brains on how to prove this to him. How about a hug? You can hug me and you'll see that I'm not fragile. His tail flicks around for a while. Once it settles, you can read from his eyes that he thinks it isn't completely stupid suggestion, at least. And although you just said this is about him hugging you, and you apparently have no patience at all because the one doing the hugging isn't him, you don't even wait for him to vocally respond before you lean forward and pull him into a hug. Frankly speaking, you'd never let that guy go if staying like this was an option. His body temperature is colder than yours, but not uncomfortably so, just the tiniest bit cool. He's all smooth muscles, and those hard scale-like plates make you want to let your hands wander all over him. Ryan's arms move incredibly slowly, circling around your waist with almost no pressure at first. See? Just breathing. You announce your survival quite happily, scooting even closer to see if he cares to let you sit on his lap. He lets you, not minding it. Or is it not a more intimate thing for his species? Or is it, and he's just giving up, thinking that it's you aggressively courting him again, which is kind of is. Aaron does tighten his hug, but not without pausing, constantly checking your reactions. Compared to you, this guy is a gentleman. You lean back a bit so you can look into his eyes, or, well, his face in general. His tongue flicks out again, which is close, seriously cute. You barely restrain yourself from touching his lips. You really have no fear. You're just not particularly scary. You've been nothing but courteous to me. Restrain yourself from touching his lips. Shouldn't you overthink your courting for a while? You don't know me or even my kind. Technically, you're flirting, which is an early step. Whenever he talks, his mouth moves slightly, and the tip of his tongue appearing in your view for a split second. Restraining yourself. For humans, we have this step you call dating. That's basically getting to know each other better to see if you make suitable partners. Very simplified. I see, and this step involves, he trails off. Sitting on his lap? Oh yeah, absolutely. Physical compatibility is an important factor. That's about half a lie, because if for some people it's not a factor at all, and for others it doesn't matter very much, but you're far too comfortable sitting where you are to move away from him. Baron's face scrunches up into an expression of thoughtful doubt, not doubting your words, but doubting your chances of surviving whatever image is in his head right now. You have some suggestions for those images, by the way. While his face scrunches up, only one side of his ears lowers. His tongue flicks out again. Seriously, you've been restraining yourself super well, but this is way too cute. Know that I am fully judging you for what you're about to do. You've always been impulsive. Usually your impulsive centers around running away from any sort of a social interaction, but now it's the opposite. You simply lean in and kiss him. For the record, he had all the time to move away or to stop you, and he didn't. He doesn't tense up, he doesn't turn his head, he doesn't respond either. He just keeps careful hold of you, letting you do whatever. If your aggressive human courtship includes kissing him, he is apparently okay with it. Baron's lips are as cool as the rest of his body, though chapped and roughed rather than soft. You can feel the slight gap where he has kept them open. He never closes his mouth completely, and the shortest touch of his tongue is more instinctual, moving than probing. It's been a while since you last kissed someone, but that doesn't mean you don't remember how it works. Your arms are still around his neck, so you only reposition yourself slightly to make it more comfortable on both of you. You open your eyes a bit just to see his reaction. None of his 8 eyes are closed. All are open a sliver, all focused on you. It makes you shiver again. You rub your lips against his, and Baron complies, opening his and finally responding. His teeth are sharp, tiny little pangs of pain whenever you brush against them, but his tongue is soft and agile, teasing you until you want to melt. You want to whine when he pulls back, but then you watch him lick the saliva off his glistening lips, and you're instantly too distracted to make a sound. Breathe. There's a rumble in his words, a purr more so than a growl. Alright, I give up. We want the monster man. He's beautiful, he's courteous, he's sexy, and he most certainly swooped you off your feet and carry you wherever. He can carry you as if you weigh nothing, and that's an image we're into, period. So fragile, losing your breath so easily. Aaron grumbles the words, but since they're spoken in your language, he did intend for you to hear them. It's totally his fault. Like, hello, who's not gonna lose their breath getting kissed by a guy like this? You don't think it's fair for him to say that. You're good at kissing, that's why. He sighs, long sigh. You will have to explain your human courtship to me. It appears very extensive. Extensive? Food, nest, care, compliments, physical affection. You did bring him meals. You also offered for him to stay here. You also bandaged his wounds, and we don't talk about the last 2 points. Never thought about it, but yes, I guess it is. The nerves return. If it bothers you, I can hold back. He shrugs. I won't reject the courtship methods of another species unless it's the courtship itself I don't like. Gasp. So, you like me? Not disliking doesn't equal liking, Jay. I have known you for not even a day. Fair enough. But so far you are alright. You're just going to take that as a compliment. So, a try? Yes. Maybe it's you beaming in him, but he gets that indulgent, resigned look again. And seeing that, will kissing continue to be part of the courtship? He sighs again. But because your beautiful monster is a very expressive person, you know that he's okay with it. Aw. Okay, that was super cute, guys. I really enjoyed playing that. That was nice. So if you guys want a chance to try it, there is a male version which is slightly different. So you can try that one. And I will catch you all on the next one. Later. Bye-bye.